All right. We are in episode 79, and I think this could be the final week, right? What date is this being released on, Greg?
No, this is
it's a month out.
Yeah, it's like July.
Yeah, so I don't know if this early bird special might not be available anymore. So if this, because all right, here's the thing, guys. We record a little bit like this. This is like a secret of podcasting, but we sometimes record our shows a little bit early. So right now, if this episode comes out and it's June 30th or 31st, is there a June 31st? Is it June 30th?
I'll tell you right now, Kevin. This is gonna be. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, when this episode goes out, they'll have 1 day. They'll have 1 day to get the early bird special.
So this is it. You've been hearing us for the last 4 shows talking about the Watersports Conference coming up September 26th, 27th. You've heard me preach to the masses. Listen, you got 1 more day to save $50, and then it's going to be $200. It should be like $400. All that the information and wealth of bullshit we're gonna fucking pontificate about at this next one, because it's 2 days, and right now you guys can get it for $150. It's $75 a day. Me and Greg are not sitting on pillowcases full of money or anything like that. So this is for you guys. Get out to Orlando. 2 days of, man, everything you can imagine. I think I'm gonna get Andy out there to come hang out with us, who's gonna be our guest today. It's gonna be a great event, guys, and it's only $150, and you literally have 1 more day to get it at that price. So act now, because I don't even know at this point, we might even be sold out. I really don't know.
Could be.
It's going to be that good. I might be drinking again. I'm not sure. If I start drinking, you want to be there for $150. It'll be a shit show. All right. Without further ado, anyway, guys, get out there, get your tickets now, get in the Facebook group. We make it pretty easy. But without further ado, guys, we have a really special guest today. Andy Kurtz from Seaforth Rentals. And what else do you got going, man? I know there's a couple credentials I have to, but Seaforth is your main thing, right?
Seaforth is our main thing, and we do rentals, we do charters, we do yacht management. We just formed our own insurance company. We do expert witness. Whatever it is, and if it's related to the boating industry, we've hopefully got a little bit of a hand in it one way or another.
Andy, tell us a little bit about your fleet, man. Brag a little bit here. How many boats do you got? How many locations? What do you got going out there? Where are you located at?
So we're located in San Diego. We're probably going to move up the coast a little bit next year for the first time. But right now we have 4 locations in San Diego. San Diego has 2 bodies of water. We got Mission Bay, which is a smaller recreational body of water. Got a big fleet here with jet skis, sailboats, runabouts, all kinds of tons of pontoon boats. That's our big push now. And then we also have 3 locations in San Diego Bay, and in there have the same stuff. I've got the little stuff, kayaks, paddleboards, stand-ups, all that stuff. But we also do yacht charters over there. We go all the way up to a 60-foot Sunseeker. We have several catamaran sailboats. We've got power cats. So we do it all. And big, little, big groups, small groups. We have a couple of certified charter boats that we own. So we try and get people out on the water, try to have a little fun.
So basically what you're saying is if I need some money, you're the first guy I can call.
You got to remember,
I want some money.
we're both in the boat business, right? So I say, you know what I say about people in the boat business? They're either crazy or stupid. And I'm not sure which one, and I don't think I really want to know. There's a lot of easier ways to make money than being in the boat business. Now, I don't know if there's a lot of ways to do it with more fun, but it's not an easy way to make money, that's for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's the thing. Everybody's like, oh man, how many boats you got? They think, you're just like doing it Scrooge McDuck style,
right.
Just swimming through gold coins, man.
Right.
You have no idea like how much bags of money I just passed right over to
other
people.
Doubt. Yeah, we have like 150 boats in our fleet, and 150 expenses, and 150 things to maintain, and 150 things to replace. I get the pain in the ass, but it's fun. It's fun. We're dealing with fun.
And how long have you been in, man? When did you start this venture?
So I have been doing this for 40 years. 40 years. It's like amazing that it's that long, but it has been, I started when I was 2.
Yeah, we, me and Andy graduated the same year.
I think it's actually 45 years. So I was with my daughter yesterday. We were filling out some paperwork. I was getting her a car, and they're like, "Well, how long have you been in? How long you been doing this?" And I'm like, 30, and she's like, "No." I said, "Oh yeah, you're 40." She's like, "No." I'm like, "Well, what is it?" She says, 45 years. I literally started when I was 15 years old, so you can kind of do the math. But I'm not very mature, so I don't act like I'm that old. Like I try and keep it young.
And Andy, and just like an aside, now you didn't mention this in your credentials, but you have a C school, right? Like a captain. You have your own captain school.
Correct. We have we do captain's license classes for either OUPV or for master's licenses. So we try and one of our big things, and I think in anybody, a good businessman wants to invest in their people. So we all hire young people. They want to get involved in the water. They want to have some fun. So we do that a couple of ways. One is, you come in as a deckhand and you get enough time, you get out on the water, you can go through our program. And I must have 40 guys that we have over the years graduated from our program, and they're out there and they're maritime professionals, which is super cool. That gives me great pride. I go wherever I go on the waterfront. It's like, oh yeah, we got our start with Andy. It's fun. You got to have something that shows what you've done, and that's my big thing.
Man, I got so much respect for that. Anything like short of, I've trained a lot of captains, and I had a lot of guys, and I mean, I don't have my own captain school. Like, man, like you put a bug in my brain about something like that, because I paid for my guys to go to captain school, and so like right. Guys that want it, that want to become maritime professionals and stuff like that. And I've trained a lot of guys become parasail captains before I owned my business. And it's funny when I hire, when somebody comes to me and they tell me they're the greatest boat driver in the world, I tell them I'm not super interested in it, or I just kind of like, twist my mustache. And I'm like, you just look like somebody I need to retrain, is what I'm hearing from you. Right. I like people to come in and not know anything.
No, I agree.
Let me teach you from the ground up.
I agree. And people will say to me, even customers, like, oh, we've never done this before. Or employees, they come in and say, I don't really have that. I said, well, at least you don't have any bad habits. So we're going to start with a clean slate, and we're going to train you the right way. Because invariably, the guy that's been doing it for 20 years has a lot of bad habits. They never were trained correctly. Let's go the right way. Let's take it from the bottom and move it and build on that and get them the right way.
Hey everyone, we're going to take a quick break and talk about our sponsors for the month, AMP Agency. AMP is a full-service digital marketing agency that specializes in tour, rental, and destination marketing.
We would not have sponsors on the show if we could not vouch for them ourselves. AMP Agency does a bunch of stuff for Destiny Water Adventures personally. I 100% vouch for this guy. I've handed them over to other companies in the past before they officially became a sponsor, and they have had nothing but great things to say. If you guys are doing your own marketing and doing a piss poor job of it, do yourselves a favor. Hand yourselves over to AMP Agency, specifically Steve Edwards, their CEO, will call you personally and have a great conversation with you about what you guys need to do for your marketing.
Listen, guys, they do pretty much everything in digital marketing: website development, maintenance, Google AdWords, PPC, graphic design, social media management, SEO, and a myriad of other things. When you choose a marketing company, it's so important to choose a company that knows your industry. And AMP Agency knows activity marketing, especially water sports and tours. They got a promo going for Awkward Watersport Guy listeners for their managed websites. Use promo code Awkward Podcast when you go to amp.agency. Again, that's amp.agency, promo code Awkward Podcast. You get 3 months free, and get started with AMP Agency. All right, guys, let's get back to the show.
That's just seeing. Have you ever seen the movie Boiler Room with Ben Affleck?
I don't think so.
Greg, have you ever seen it? About the brokers? It's kind of, it was like about you've seen Wolf of Wall Street, right?
Yeah.
So it was basically like pseudo Wolf of Wall Street before that came out, but he's bringing in these. I love the scene. He's bringing in these brokers that they're training, and he goes, "Does anybody pass their Series 7 exam?" And one guy like raises his hand all cockily. And he's like, "I've got my Series 7 exam." He goes, "Congratulations, get the fuck out."
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, you're the world's greatest broker. Well, no, you're not. You're not.
Yeah. I love it, man. So how's 2022 been shaping up for you?
So 2022, we started out the first quarter pretty strong. I was just looking at some numbers, and we have shown some weakness. So it's funny. Like I want it to be better than last year. I don't care why we did great last year. I always look for better. So if I'm comparing to 2019, we're killing it. Comparing to 2020, we're killing it. But we're a little bit off. We had some challenges with the weather, and I think we're going to have to work harder this year to get those same numbers. I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, our marketing guy, and he's like, "Hey, you're not going to be able to, last year was this crazy tide. Like there was the perfect storm of people knocking on your door. So it's going to be really hard to get that. You got to be realistic." And I'm like, I am realistic. We're going to do better than last year. So we're not quite there yet, but we're working our asses off, and we will be there. And I have 100% confident that when we talk at the end of the season, we'll say, yeah, best season ever. Like it's what we got to do.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I was a little worried about 2022 because we moved locations. So
right.
I got this bug up my ass. Like to me, I felt like I was starting over from scratch for 2022. And so, man, I really dug in. We really started instituting some new, I didn't go, man, 2021 was great. I went into 2022 like in panic mode. Like, man, we have a brand new location. We're moving our entire operation over to one location. And if we don't kill it here, like I expected 22 to be bad for us. So we went in really hard, and it has really paid off for us.
Wow, that's great. That's great.
And we're having our best year ever. I'm probably one of very few operators that can say that, but to your point, and I never feel like I'm bulletproof, but the moment you sit back and you feel like, oh yeah, man, like yeah. I got this figured out. Like if you're not working, if you're not busting your balls, like the market will change things for you. So let me back up a little bit. And so 2022 is going to be one of the best years for you. I know you're going to, things will work out for you, man. Like you're for 45 years,
yeah,
man.
Exactly.
I'm sure
I think I got something figured out.
Right. So let's go backwards and why don't you tell us like how you got your start?
Okay. So when I was 15 years old, my dad decided, got a wild hair up his ass. He was living in Indiana, working for a drug company. And he got a wild hair up his ass, like he's going to move to San Diego and go in the boat business. I'm like, sure, that sounds like fun. Like, I don't know anybody in San Diego. Like, I wasn't so thrilled. But anyway, we moved to San Diego. He buys this business. It was like 6 broken down boats and a crappy lease and a busted up dock. And my dad had more balls than brains, I'm afraid. He knew nothing about boats and nothing about business, right? So it kind of was like, okay, well, you take over. So I ended up going to San Diego State, and I got a degree in business management. I ended up getting my captain's license. I went to Mercury School. I became a certified mechanic. Like I did all the work to know how to run a business, to know the nuts and bolts. So I worked with him for about 10 years. And finally, like, I'm like, dude, one of us is going to go. Like, I'll go get another job. I'll do something else. But I am not busting my balls, working my ass off while you're traveling the world and taking all the cash. Like, this doesn't work. Thanks, Dad. But so, that was just not cool. So we ended up, he's like, okay, we'll just sell it. I'm like, that's fine. I'm raising a family. I got other things to do. So he puts it on the market, and I mean, the P&L was horrible. I mean, there was no money, right? So we get one guy that wants to buy it, but he only wanted to buy half. And I'm like, cool, buy my half. I'm out. But he didn't want my half. He wanted my dad. He needed, because the guy was coming from out of the country. So I ended up being partners with this guy. He bought my dad out, and I bought the other half, and we were partners. And we did that for about 10 years. And that then finally it went south. It's tough having a partner. So that went south, and I bought him out. So here I am after a lot of years on my own with. I say I got a million partners. Everybody that comes through the door is my partner. All my employees are my partners. Everybody wants something, But it's nice to be the final decision maker. I don't really play well with others, so it's nice to be the guy that makes those decisions.
Yeah, I got partners, but we have I'm not gonna get into the specifics of it, but the big thing is that I have to have the gavel,
right.
and because I said if everyone shuts up and gets out of my way, we'll be okay. And if you can listen and you're teachable, we're gonna be okay. I said if not, I just pull the keys out of my pocket, I lay them on the table, and I said, just write a check, man. Here you go. You want to run the show?
Right.
Fucking here you go. Run the show, man.
Exactly.
Write me a check, and I'll fucking leave. I have no problem with it. You know what I mean? And then everyone gets real fucking quiet.
Right. Well, that's funny because that's what happened. That's how I decided I wasn't going to have a partner anymore. So it was like 2008 when the world stopped spinning. Remember, there was some bad shit going on, and so I'm looking over the horizon, and I'm like. If we were actually at a boat show, and there were all these trailer boats, big San Diego boat show, tons of trailer boats. And I said, you know what? Next year, there won't be any trailer boats in here. And the trailer boat business is gone because home equity lines were gone. I mean, money had dried up, like shit was changing. So I said, we need to evaluate our business plan and make some decisions and go in a different direction. So one of the things I wanted to do was take in privately owned boats. So we own sailboats up to 36 feet. I said, there's a huge market at the high end here. And when the economy goes bad, it's people with money have money to spend. It's rich people. Poor people, they're going to get fucked in the economy. But rich people doesn't really affect. So I wanted to go and add all these private boats. And he's like, no, it's a pain in the ass. We don't want to do that. I'm like, everything's a fucking pain in the ass. Until they start bringing you money in a wheelbarrow, it's a pain in the ass, right? And so far, nobody's done that. So I'm like, okay, if we don't make changes, we're not going to be here next year either. So sure as shit, home equity lines dried up. All the trailer boat businesses went out. And I finally convinced him, I said, buy me out. Give me a number. I'm gone. But I ended up buying him out. And we ended up adding all these privately owned boats. And that year I did, the first year that I added the program, I did $500,000 in revenue with privately owned boats. So zero investment. I didn't have to take a nickel out of my pocket. Privately owned boats, they got money, we got money. It's not a huge margin, but it was a lot more than I was getting. And everything else was way tougher. So you gotta roll with it, but you also need to look over the horizon. What's coming? What is the problem that we're going to see? I mean, right now there's tons of things. I mean, where are we going to go with? I mean, California, they want to shut off all of our gas. CO2, carbon, whatever. The California Air Resources Board wants to stop all internal combustion engines. Well, that's a fucking problem. So I'm looking at electric stuff. You just have to look at what's coming down the pike, right?
Yeah, I watched your I saw you were on the news, and they were like I watched your interview on the local news channel where we're talking about gas, and I mean, I know you guys are typically higher than us regardless, but I looked at some of those prices. I mean, what do you do? How do you do your gas? Are you putting your gas at Marines? Like, are you fueling up at Marines?
We do half as so everything is, we put gas in all of our boats. We do it ourselves. So we do it either from a pickup truck. We have 2 pickup trucks that have tanks on the back. We go to the gas station. So we're paying gas rates, but when you burden it with labor, you got to go to the gas station, you got to pump it out of the truck. You got to take it down on the dock. You got to pump it in. So even with, if you're paying $6, I figured that burden labor, we're probably at 7. And then some of it we have to get. I have a fuel boat that's got tanks on it, and that you got to buy at the gas stock. And that's just ridiculous. I mean, we're paying.
What's it up to?
I think we're north of $750 right now. I mean, it's just out of control. and everything is price sensitive. So we were talking about this the other day. You get the bootleggers, the guys that don't really belong in the market. Well, their expenses are nothing. You and I, we got insurance, you got rent, you got all kinds of labor, you've got this and that. But you got guys that are working out of the back of their truck, so they can charge nothing. I mean, we got to charge a lot more. So it makes it a challenge. I can't just keep raising prices because there's guys that can do it for a hell of a lot less.
Hey, Andy, how are they finding out about these bootleggers? Are they going through sites like Facebook Marketplace or Get My Boat? I mean, how are they finding these guys?
The customers?
Yes.
Yeah, the customers find them by all of the above, by Craigslist, Get My Boat, by Boat Setter, and what's the Offer Up, just stuff like that. In fact, I'm going to put some stuff on Offer Up. Some of the stuff we do is pretty competitive. Like our pontoon rates are very competitive to what these guys are doing. So I got one of my guys are going to follow it up and put it on Offer Up and try and beat them at the same game. I mean, we'll do it right through the front door, but we'll get at least customer engagement that way.
Does the city have code enforcement for illegal operations? Like, how does that handled?
The city is, last year they were actually on a rampage trying to get enforcement on jet skis. So my office in Mission Bay, I look out of my window and we're looking at the lifeguard headquarters. They had 20 illegal jet skis that they had impounded against the dock there. First time ever. They've always talked about it, but so they rounded them all up. They would stop jet skis on the water. If they said that they rented it off of Craigslist, they rented it off of the beach, they'd pull them out. So Mission Bay, we had a little bit of success. But this year, they're not doing anything. The illegal jet skis are back, the pontoon boats. I look at the bay, and it's filled with pontoon boats, and I know they're not mine, and I know that they're not my competitors, so they're doing the same thing. So the city doesn't do anything. The port, so we have the city in Mission Bay, they have the Port Authority in San Diego Bay. They did this whole big new program where everybody's got to be permitted. I got to buy a permit for my jet skis. They wanted me to buy permits for stand-up paddle boards. So they got every legitimate operator to buy permits, but all the bootleggers are still out there. They're not doing anything about them. So how do you know? And this is what I said during the process. I'm like, okay, so now you know that I'm legal, but how do you know the other guy's illegal? Because they're not going to Craigslist. They're not going on Facebook Marketplace. They're not even looking. All they wanted, it was just a money grab for us. So nobody's helping us.
It sounds like it's a national problem.
Yeah, it is.
Problem. It's here too, everywhere. I mean, Kevin, there was somebody in our Facebook group that I think actually from California, and he was having, some issues with reporting. No, it was Chris Woodruff in South Florida, and he was having, some doubts of whether or not he should report the illegal charters in his, area. You didn't want to sound like a snitch, but at the same time, I think, Kevin, you made a good response and told him, like, if there's people's lives at stake by not reporting illegal charters, because that these rental companies and illegal charters, they're not equipping their boats up to the safety standards that are required as a regular livery would.
And more than that, they're giving no instructions. It's
exactly.
Funny. When we started back in the day, guy comes in, I have my rental contract was a half a sheet of paper. They put their name, they sign it on the bottom, they go down on the dock, and I'm like, okay, take a left, take a right, don't go fast until you get past the bridge. Like, that was all we did. Basically, you throw them the key. And people say, well, what does it take to be able to rent a boat? I'm like, American Express.
You ain't lying. I go back and forth with it, man, because it's just like, there's the part of me that's like, I feel like the taxi cab industry, you know what I mean? But, but then there's like the entrepreneurial side of me that says, like, man, I could probably do boats that are way fucking better than Boat Setter, right? Like,
right.
I could come up with a better looking platform. You know what I mean? Like we could Uberize this shit, and like I can make a bazillion fucking dollars. Give my finger to the fucking goddamn county in the state that wants to break my balls when I'm trying to do things right every single step of the fucking way, and just circumvent the whole fucking process by creating an online platform. And tell them to go fuck themselves. And that's the hardest part of me, because I do, like, as a mariner, you listen to the show at all, you'll hear like, Andy, I'm like, you build captains, you keep people safe,
right.
ambassadors. But then at the same point in time, it's like you said, the state wants to fucking just basically end your livelihood by fucking, $9 an hour gas or getting rid of engines. So there's one party who wants to do everything right, and you do everything right. And then at the end of the day, you have nothing left to fucking show for it, because you end up like your business partner is a fucking local government who doesn't know shit about your industry. And you just go, well, goddamn, why don't I just load up a parking lot full of Craigslist boats, stick them all on fucking Boat Setter, and call it a fucking day?
Well, I don't know that that's all that crazy either. I think there might be the hybrid solution. You don't have to be reckless about it, but maybe maybe you go both directions, I mean,
yeah.
Why pay them if nobody else is? I mean, I'll keep my brick and mortar. I think that's a great idea. Let's hit them on both sides. If there's a market for this cheap stuff, then you give them cheap stuff. I'll take the shit that I was going to take to the dump, put a new motor on it, and rent it out.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's man, we think a lot alike, man. That's for sure. I know Greg's got something on his mind. Greg, what are you?
Well,
are we going to start a business? Is this podcast?
No, I'll tell you.
I'm
conversation.
convinced that it will, actually. I'm excited.
I was like 4 or 5 years ago, I was talking to an operator, and they were upset about these other businesses that were selling crappier equipment and cheaper price. And they were like, well, I just need to buy a bunch of crappy boats or repurpose some of my older ones and then match them. And I said, well, if you do that, you probably have to start a new business. And he's like, well, why is that? And I'm like, well, you don't want your brand name associated with crappy equipment. Like, that's why people go with you, because you have a higher standard when it comes to the quality of equipment.
That's why I was going to use Kevin's business name.
Oh, man, that was a good one.
Like I said, man, the keys are in my pocket now, Andy. I'll just mail them to you, man.
No, I think you do have to protect your brand, and you do have to make sure that the quality of service that you're providing is consistent and at a high level. It doesn't make sense to bottom feed, because the farther you go down, so we've actually talked about this too at lunch. So when you're going for that bottom of the market, and we saw a whole group of people that we never saw before, right? We didn't get mariners last year. We got people that didn't know how to drink water. They just were not boaters, right? And they fucked up your gear. They were a pain in the ass. Like, that's not who we want to do business with anyway. So when they, we did Groupons. You guys probably did Groupons. Those people were a pain in the ass. They didn't respect your equipment. They bitched about everything. So you can beat them on price. You can get them. You can offer this shitty quality stuff and do it for cheap. But the return is not great, and the headaches are way not worth it. So stay with the high end. I think offer a good product, quality, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, our market here is that it's like, and I don't know, the advent of the pontoon thing, like it's just like, man, I don't know where. I would probably say that this market like really gave birth to it. Like when I first got here, and I was looking, everyone's like renting pontoons, rent a pontoon. I'm like, a pontoon? That's like the shittiest boat on the planet.
Right.
Like, who wants to go on one of these things? But my God, at that time you could get one, and even 5 years ago, you could get a Bennington for $25,000 or $26,000, and this isn't like a Bentley or like a piece of shit. It's like a decent pontoon boat,
right?
And you could put $25,000 and make when I got here, I think $40,000 a boat or $45,000 a boat was like, people really, they're doing victory laps on those kind of numbers.
Right.
So, I mean, shit, you're already profiting at nearly 100%. Your initial investment was paid for, and you already were in the black on your first, and then it was scalable because of the demand.
Right.
And now it's like everybody I talk to, and I'm surprised. Obviously we talked about it. I'm surprised that out in California too, that pontoon boats are like becoming the thing. Like that is just becoming like a nationwide business model.
Well, I think that we clearly didn't introduce pontoon boats to San Diego, but I've been going to Pensacola for years. My sister-in-law lives down there. So I would rent boats from Keys Sailing. I forget the guy's name, super nice guy over there. And we always would rent a little runabout, cruise around in Pensacola there. And then the last 5 or 6 years, I see the little boats going away and pontoon boats. So I talked to the guy. I'm like, what's the deal? And he says, we have demand for pontoon boats. We don't have demand for anything else. He has Sea-Doos and pontoon boats. So I'm like, well, again, look over the horizon. What's going to happen? So I bought some pontoon boats, and I'm like, that's it. Last year, I did $85,000 a unit. $85,000. That's nuts. Yeah. So I don't know why it's just an easy boat. You can put 12 people on them. We buy a big capacity boat. That's what they want. And I love it. The fuel, that helps a little bit on fuel. So we went from 10 passenger boats that had 150 horsepower outboards on them to the pontoons that have 60, and the price is essentially the same what we're charging. So at least that's helping us on the fuel thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm every time my Amex, I gotta look at my Amex, and I'm just like, I pay the thing off, and then in 2 weeks, I'm like, my God, I got to pay it off again, because they're running our gas on it, and I'm just, my eye just like kind of like bulge out of my head, and but as you said, the per boat, like, yeah, man, we're like right on par with those kind of numbers as well here, and it's really it's incredible. So do you feel like for 2022, 2023 moving forward? I mean, I hate to say that we're recession proof water sports, but I mean, man, every company that's worth their salt knows what they're doing. Good marketers, good equipment, good brand, smart guys, hard workers have been able to just kick every single COVID 2008, like growth.
Right.
So what do you think about 2023? Like,
here's some sage advice from an old man. We are recession proof. And you know why we're recession proof? People are going to recreate, right? They're going to recreate. Have you ever taken a year where you didn't have any fun? I mean, well, you stopped drinking, so that changes a little bit. But other than that,
I started again after my heart attack.
Oh, okay. You know what? I told Steve that that's what the problem. You got to fucking drink a little bit. It stretches your body too much. I'm like, I can't say that. That's really fucked up. But I did say it anyway. So the deal is, people are going to go and they're going to recreate. So if you're flush and you got a lot of money and you live in San Diego, maybe you're going to fly to Europe and you're going to have an extravagant European vacation because you got a lot of coin. But there's also people from Europe that are coming here. So our boats are filled because there's people coming. Now, let's say they dial it back a little bit and there's not all that spendable money. The guy that lives in San Diego is saying, fuck, I spent, it cost me $500 to fly anywhere. It cost me $1,000 to fly anywhere. I'm just going to stay here and I'm going to recreate here. And the same is true in South Florida. The same is true wherever you are. I don't care if you're in a lake in Indiana. If they're not going to go somewhere, they're still going to get out on the water because what we do is relatively cheap. And it's like everybody's dream. I mean, who doesn't want to be involved in water recreation? So I think we are. I don't think nobody's bulletproof, but I think we're pretty recession proof. And I can look back. I do have 45 years of looking back. And there's been years that are better than the other. But the only thing that really makes a big difference for us is the weather, and that you can pull down your pants and do the antler dance. Nothing you can do to overcome bad weather.
Yeah. So in 2008, I was working at a hotel, and I noticed that the worse we got into the recession, the radius of travelers shrunk. So we saw more people from Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, opposed to people from Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, because during recessions, they are going to choose to stay closer. But one thing that is interesting, going back to brand. So Disney, for example, they're showing huge numbers for this summer. And Disney's expensive now. It used to be an affordable vacation. It's not. It's super expensive to go.
Right.
But how are these lower middle class families still able to afford Disney? And it's because the quality of the experience they provide.
Right.
And that goes no different to our businesses as well. If we're giving a really high-end product, people that are lower middle income families, they will spend a little bit more if that means they're going to have that much better of an experience or a safer experience. So just to feel like it's, price, it does matter, to people, but at the end of the day, like you're going to get the better customers that are going to spend money.
I totally agree.
When the brand. So, just take this out. Disney's the perfect example. People will pay top dollar for a good experience, a better experience. But,
and your interaction with the customer is going to be better if they're a little bit more of a high-end guy. I don't want the bottom feeders. I don't want those guys that are, cutting the coupons and trying to save every cent, because they're just going to be a pain in the ass for you.
Yeah.
So, well, Andy, we're almost out of time, but I got two. I want to wrap up with two questions here for you.
Okay.
So one is something I like to ask. I like to ask experienced vets like yourself. What is the one big piece of advice you would give to somebody getting into the industry as an entrepreneur? They're getting ready to break away from their company. They're coming into it from the first time. What's the one piece of advice that you would give a maritime professional getting ready to get into tours and activities to their first go? So
my one piece of advice would be surround yourself with people that know what they're doing. And wow, that's a tough one. I mean, basically, give me a second on that one. Ask the second one.
That's really good advice, though. Now they say your net worth is equal to your network, right?
Yeah,
I like that. That's actually really good advice.
It is. It's super important. So don't think that you know all the answers. Don't think that there's an easy road. It's going to be hard. It's going to take a lot of work. But you've got to have good people. If you don't have good people, it's never going to work. Like, it's not. The other thing is, you've got to be. It's not. I love boats. I want to be in the boat business. Like, the boat part is secondary. The business part is what it's really about. So make sure you know what the fuck you're doing with business. Make sure you know the difference between a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet. Make sure you know what cash flow. I'm making all this money. I don't have any cash. That's because you bought boats, motherfucker. You don't have any cash left. Look at your cash flow. So I would say that I'm going to back off. I'm not backing off, because it's the people that you need to surround yourself by are good attorneys, good insurance people, and good CPAs. But you have to know business. No business, and then the boat part will work. Yeah. And then my next question is on a personal note. So, I mean, you're like, I don't know, Andy, what are you, like, late 50s? I just hit the 60 mark.
You just hit 60. So, I mean, for you on the horizon, like, what's next? Like, is retirement even, like, is that even a word that you even, like, give a shit about? Because you just seem like every time we talk, you're like, I got a fucking idea. Like, you're like the optimistic entrepreneur that, like, I mean, man, like the 25-year-old guy that just got fucking stars in his eyes. So what's next for you, man? Like, what's not any big plans that, like, no secrets or anything like that.
No.
But
I'll tell you what the plans are. The plans are to continue to grow. I got a buddy that wants me to open a location up near Los Angeles. I just chartered an insurance company, so we're going to start selling hold collision damage waivers. We're doing tour packages now. We got an app so you can do a tour. Like, I'm growing, Jack. I am not done. What I want is to surround myself by good people. So I used to be a 70-hour-a-week guy. I mean, literally, my kids were growing up. I was always at work. And it sucked. But now it's 3:00. I look at my watch. I'm like, later, boys. And I head home. Now, I'm still working. I'm on the phone. I'm doing this and that, but I cut back. So, and I try and vacation more. I might even come down to Orlando and see you guys. Like
you have to. You have to. Like I think I'm like, as soon as we get off, I'm gonna like talk to Greg about a programming thing. I want you to be a part of the program, man. I think
it'd be fun. I hate Orlando, by the way, but I might make an exception. It's close enough. But so,
hey, wait, you just soft sell the shit out of our thing by going like, hey, what's the most important thing? You're like, yeah, your network, which is why you guys need to spend $149 get on that early bird special.
And actually, networking, it is all about that. It is all about that. You know, I got to be able to call the guy and say, hey, what are we going to do about that? I got to call the guy at the yard, say, I know you're 2 weeks out, but I got to get that fucking boat out of the water. I need to call, you know, my marketing guy to find out what are we going to do about this. It's all about the people you know. So as you spend some time in business, you've got to accumulate these people and you got to give back so that you have some value to them. So when you need to knock on their door, they're there.
Yeah, man. Well, man, Andy, dude, thank you so much for carving out, man. I know you're a really busy guy, and I really appreciate you coming and doing the show, man. And I really do hope you can make it to Orlando, man. I think you bring a West Coast vibe there amongst all these Florida boys that would just shake them up, man, and fucking make sure. Every time I talk to you, I'm like fucking like, all right, it's time to start 5 more companies, man.
No, don't stop. What are you gonna do? Like, do you play golf? That's a fucking waste of time. No, it's been fun. I hope I had something insightful to say that meant something to somebody, and if not, we just hopefully made somebody laugh. But
we appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you, brother.
All right, sounds good. We'll talk soon.
All right, take care, Andy.
All right, see ya.
All right, everybody. Well, we appreciate you coming in and listening, and thank you, Andy, for coming on the show. And as always, keep it awkward and join our Facebook group.
And come to the conference. You got less than 12 hours to save $50.
And leave a review on the show. We haven't said that in a while.
Yeah, leave a review, dickheads.
Okay.